Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. I gotta put my apron on. I'm getting everything ready. Today I'm making a very, very simple dish. I'm gonna make tuna casserole. I told my sons I still have to can apple pie filling, so we're gonna have a simple dinner. I put 3 eggs on to boil. And I'm going to put a stick of butter in a pan. Now, let me start getting some stuff we're going to need. You are going to need 2 cups of milk. Half a cup of powdered milk. You know, I can't even find large bags of powdered milk anymore. This is my salt mixture. You're going to need about a half a teaspoon of salt. And pepper. I'm a little heavy-handed with my pepper, about a teaspoon. Because I'm going to be adding salt to the pasta, I found one more box of the pasta. I'm going to finish up my pastas that I bought. Now we're going to put this to the side, and you need a large can of tuna. We're going to strain it. We're going to time these eggs 7 minutes. Seven minutes and they'll be hard boiled. Okay. Now, this tuna reads that it has tuna, water, vegetable broth, and salt in it. All right, that is chicken of the sea. Now, if you get the cheaper ones, you will read, it'll say tuna, fish, vegetable broth, and salt. That is dolphin that they're adding to it. That's that funny taste that you get in the back of your throat. That's dolphin meat. They try to cover it up, but they can't. If you have a sensitive palate, you will taste it. So I pay a little extra to make sure that I get what I want. Okay. I said you could do it, water or milk, you could use all three. You've never seen me use potato water to cook with. This time, I'm going to cook the pasta in it. And I'll add more water to make sure that I have enough. So the nutrients of the potato peelings and stuff will be in the pasta this time. I gotta turn those eggs down a bit. Squeeze your tuna because you don't want your your tuna casserole to be watery. And don't worry, we'll have a lot of protein in this. I've already added half a cup of powdered milk, and I've already told you about powdered milk. I've already got 2 cups of milk. We're going to have 3 eggs in it. You know, 2 eggs is 13. I just can't remember. The milk, yeah, every 2 tablespoons is 1 gram of protein. Can't remember the powdered milk offhand, but it's a lot. And then you have the tuna fish, so you can see the proteins are adding up. You're also going to need, you can use all-purpose flour, but I'm using whole wheat to make this more nutritious. Half a cup of flour you're going to need. Okay, we're going to start chopping some vegetables. I'm not even done yet. Let's see what I have. Oh yeah, on the hour. Gonna need an onion. I always peel off 1 layer because it's usually starting to turn into skin, which is hard. You know what surprises me? You buy insurance for your home and you keep it up. You sit there for your car, you get insurance and you keep it up par. You're always working on your home, always making sure your car is running, everything. And you sit there and you buy clothes, you care for them and all. Make sure you take your vacations and everything else. Everything in life. Literally everything in life. You pay for one way or another. But the one place a lot of people don't put a lot of stock into, and this sort of floors me. One more minute. We're putting a shallot in it. focus on their health. Or they're buying the car and they're going to school and everything. The one thing they don't think about is their health. They don't think about that. They assume when they get old, they expect illnesses and stuff. So they sit there and they say, well, I'm going to do everything to make sure they enjoy life. Because they assume when they get old they're going to have diseases. They say, oh, well, diabetes runs, so I'm going to get diabetes. Heart runs in the family. When I'm old, so I'll do everything young, party and everything. But it doesn't. What you're seeing from old people is a lifetime of malnutrition. That's what you're seeing. Like I said, the one place we don't seem to really care about, oh, you go to the doctor. A doctor cannot keep you healthy, okay? He can't. He can fix your bones. If you break a bone, there's certain stuff he can do. But if you get arthritis, that comes from your eating habits. You have a heart condition, that's not hereditary. It's the way you've been eating. I'm not saying that you're not going to get sick. Yeah, if you have a cold, they charge you for the very things out there that they call weeds. And they put it in medicine for you. A cold is going to last 7 days. You can't fight it. You're going to get sick if you catch a cold. All right? But any disease that runs in a family, it's just that you have a higher requirement for the nutrients for that organ or for that problem. Half a bell pepper, as I'm talking my way through this. But there's no reason for you to be sick and in old age. Yes, the old people can slow down, but it doesn't mean you have to give up on life or sit there and nurse, greeting your day with pills every day. It's how you eat. And women, you want to keep your beauty. Yes, you don't mind aging, but you want your beauty. They're giving you makeup to cover it up, but you have microbes that live on your skin that kill the bad stuff that gets on your skin. And you cover it up and you wash it all off with makeup, and you lose the defense. Yes, I wash my face at night, and I feed my skin with oil, so I'm feeding everything, inside and out. But you don't have to be. Eat well throughout your life. And you'll have your health, and you'll have your beauty. And then you'll have your stamina. You might have gray hair, but you'll have the strength to take a young man on, that's for dang sure. And like I tell you, I know some of you are not going to believe it, but I am 70 years old. You want a rib of celery? This is like a complete meal, which I really like. Because anybody who's going to sit there and tell me to listen to them, and they're not healthy, it's got to go in one ear and out the other. It's not going to stop for any information. That's why young people get on and say, look how healthy I am. I'm strong, I'm this, I'm that. If an old person comes on and looks good, now that person I'll listen to if they're talking about eating habits and stuff, because they've spent a lifetime proving it, you know? This is how I see it. I heard one person say, oh, the women, I can't remember the country, oh my God, they're beautiful. And this person was asking them their age. They were saying 70s. And they were in their 70s and they look good for 70. It's because they ate. It wasn't the makeup they put on. It wasn't this, it wasn't that. It's that their bodies were healthy. They ate well throughout their life. Balanced their diet out. And they look good and they're strong for their age. I have a lady that I see at the store. She's my cashier, and she sat there, and I was tired Friday. I was tired. I had to pick up a 40-pound bag of cat litter underneath the cart and get it up on the counter for her to register it. Paid, and then put it back in the cart in the bottom. And it was the first time I said, God, it's heavy. I got to get more rest. I thought I was tired. I had had a busy week and I was tired. And but I pick up 40 pounds. That might not seem a lot, but you know, I've done it and I still do it. So it's not that you have to hit 60 and be in a nursing home or anything. It's that you choose to pretty much end your life. You just want to sit and let everybody cater on you. You feel that you've earned this right. You don't earn that right. Nobody does. You have to care for yourself. If you have a loved one who's sick, you care for them. I understand that. All right. Got the celery. You notice how much is going in this, right? So it's never too late. And I'll even prove it to you at this point. I was on medication. I'll even tell you what triggered it. My husband was very sick. Doctors kept adding up medications on him, and I kept telling my husband, don't. Where did that lid come from? Hold on. Oh. I told my husband, you take this medication. He had capsules 3 times a day. I said, you take this. They're going to be sick. Well, I lost the battle of his life. Though I was feeding him everything that should work, I was very unaware about what medication did to the human body. But in order to keep myself going 24/7, because my husband would need me at times at night, he'd need me during the day. So I was pretty bogged down, and I had to feed him because it came to the fact that his hands weren't used. And the only thing I was getting from everybody was, put him in a nursing home, let them take care of him, go on with your life. I said, this is the man I've chosen to spend my life with, which I did. And it took a lot out of me. So I started living off coffee because I knew caffeine would keep me going, and I needed to keep going. I had a house, a husband, children. I was pretty swamped. So what happened was, I started drinking coffee. I couldn't even get my day started without at least 8 cups of coffee. By the end of the day, I was having coffee. I was having coffee all the time. I think I had about 20 cups a day. I wouldn't dare tell the doctor that. And one night, I was getting ready for bed, and I turned to my husband and I told him, Tony, I'm not going to be alive tomorrow morning. I told my husband, something is going terribly wrong in here, and I'm pointing to the heart area, and I said, I don't think I'm going to make it through the night. Well, because he was in medicine, he stayed up that night. He would not sleep. And he got me to his doctor. And my blood pressure was 220 over 20. I mean, 220 over 200. I was way up there. They said, we're surprised you didn't have a heart attack. And my pressure, I put about 4 garlics in this, you must know. And they put me on blood pressure, a low dosage. My blood pressure came down. And then all of a sudden I noticed, while I'm taking care of my husband, still drinking the coffee like crazy, trying to keep myself going, I noticed I was swelling up. I was blowing up from medication. Well, I had to see him a week later because they wanted me to see the doctor. And so I did. So then I went from having just blood pressure medication, he had to give me water pills. Okay, well, shortly afterwards, my husband passed. Stress can kill you. And if you don't believe me, guys, stress can kill you. I was under enough of it. Okay, now we need some olives. So, I was still on blood pressure medicine. I went through everything that you have to go through, taking care of papers and all, with my son's help, because I was losing it. I can be honest about that. When you love somebody that much and they're your world and you're caring for them for years, when they go, you're lost. So then what happened? I got everything finally figured out. I didn't think I was ever going to do that. And what happened was, one day I was still having coffee because my husband had introduced me to coffee, so I was still having coffee, but not drinking 20 cups or anything. And one day I woke up, I made that cup of coffee, and I looked at that cup of coffee and I said, why in the heck? Well, I didn't say heck, I said something else. Why am I drinking this coffee? And I said, I don't want it. What happened next to me floored me. So I didn't have it, but I did take my medicine, faithful as clockwork, just like the doctors told me to. And it was small dosages because I'm drug sensitive. And what happened next was I fell out. I literally fell out. I could not pick my arm up, and I was on the settee, and I just stayed there. I couldn't get up. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move my body. That was a hard day. My sons were at work. By the end of the day, I felt a little better. I didn't want to eat. The only thing I wanted to do was I wanted to go to bed. So I managed to make it to the bed, and I collapsed. The next day, my younger son woke up. So, Mommy, are you all right? And I said, just give me a cup of coffee. I just had a hard day yesterday, that's all. I was really tired. I figured it was just from, all the work that I do. Well, I took my blood pressure medicine, and I had a cup of coffee. Did not affect me in any way, manner, shape, or form. So the next day, I said, I'm not having any coffee. I'll take the medicine and see what happens. Well, I was back on that settee and could not get up. So I called my heart specialist, and I told him what was going on. And he said, well, maybe you should cut back on the medication. And he heard my whole story. And then he said, he said, are you having coffee today? I said, no, I don't want any coffee. I don't want any tea, and I don't want any coffee. And he sat there and said, come off all medicines and call me back in a week and keep a record of your blood pressure. My blood pressure was fine. Matter of fact, I run a low blood pressure, if you must know. It was fine. And he said, your problem is you're reacting to caffeine. Nobody bothered to see what was going on with my body. It was only to deal with the problems. So I had that medicine. I wasn't taking it just a couple of months. I was taking it for some years. I think about 4 years, 3 or 4 years. And knowing medicine, then I know what it does to the human body. I came off of it. Doctor's orders. Haven't had to see him. My primary has no problems. We have no problems at all. So you can grab whatever health you have and build up on it. There's nothing stopping you from it. You could say, well, I'm old, I can't do anything. Yes, you can. It's never too late. You can't correct everything, but dang, you can correct a lot. I'm stirring the powdered milk and kelp and salt and pepper into the milk. So don't think that you can't grab health back. I can't regrow or tell you to regrow tissues, but you don't have to get any worse. And what is working, you can build it back up on. But mine was a case of too much caffeine. But my body responded back when I got back on track. And I noticed that I was starting to develop, actually, I started developing arthritis in my hands. My knuckles were starting to swell. You know, the older people have the swollen knuckles. And I noticed that my face was really drying up. I mean, I was aging. I was really aging. And I was in my 50s. I was in my 50s when this happened, late 50s. And I just started, so I've got to start building my health back up. And I did. I noticed the wrinkles that were getting deep on my face started softening up. In my hands, 70-year-old hands. I don't have those swollen knuckles. So you can work and get back on track, but it takes work and it doesn't happen overnight. But this is where people get old, and men are vain too. They want to, you know, look good for their age as well. They don't want to look like they're falling apart. It's disheartening. Okay, we got our vegetables done. Got the milk, this. We got to peel the eggs now and get these in here. So you can, it's never too late to improve. But I look at people, and if they tell me something, unless they know it, I'm not going to believe a young person. I believe it when they get old and they're still looking good and bouncing around and everything. I can say, oh yeah, I could listen to them. I'm not going to listen to somebody who's young and telling me this or that. Even if they're 40s or 50s, they're still young. When they start hitting 70, what they're doing, and they still look good, I say, okay, them I'm going to listen to. And do not think diseases are something that you have to live with or anything else. Your body is equipped to take care of a lot of its problems if you give it what it needs. But if you depend on big business to give you your health and to care for your body, I'm going to tell you right now, no. Sad thing they want, the only thing they want is your money. But of course, they'll eat the best food that they can get their hands on to keep their health going. But they don't give 10 cents about you as long as you buy their food that they're manufacturing so they can have stuff on their table. This is why I show you and talk about preservatives they put in, how I show you to make your own biscuit, how to make your own mayonnaise. I can't do olives and stuff like that. I don't know how to do that. But to give you to where you can take more control over your life so you can have your health. I don't want somebody tampering with my health. It's mine. God gave me this body. I have to care for it. If I don't care for it, believe you me, there'll be punishments. Like my grandmother said, the body will get you back for everything you have ever done to it in time. She must have known the rule of health. So she abused her body with some stuff that she did, and her body got back at her. I think we're about ready to put this together. Almost. Now, I'm gonna have to estimate because I bought a big piece of cheddar cheese because we do use cheddar here. Okay, this is 2 pounds. Start marking everything. All right, this is 2 pounds is 16 ounces. So you want 8 ounces. Okay, and then the bowl. We're gonna grater this cheese because it'll melt better. You can chunk it if you wish, dice it, but I am gonna grater it because it'll melt faster. But you do need 8 ounces. So you get the protein and the powdered milk, the eggs, the tuna, and the cheese. Turn the pasta on, the water for the pasta, and get that going. Now we're ready to start melting this butter. When you take your peelings like this, if you're not going to can them, you can boil them down, a bag of them, and strain them and stick them in a container in the refrigerator, and you can use it for the week for it to cook with. But I'm going to can mine and pack mine away. I've already got 1 bag, I'm on my 2nd bag, but what I need are some bones. So I'll be picking bones up after a while. They should have them out soon because I know harvest time. I know it sounds stupid when I say harvest time, but in your cattle country where I grew up in Texas, harvesting is in the autumn. They start taking the cattle into the slaughterhouses and the chickens and stuff. And this is why you have so much meat during the holidays. So, do you notice they have the sales and all? That's because that's that time. You're gonna need some parsley. I I'm using dry with a teaspoon, so that's about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons. I'll let you choose and how much you want to put in it. I put it with the eggs and tuna because it'll go in pretty much towards the end. You're using fresh, chop it up in your vegetables and put it in your pot. Now you hear that popping? That is literally water and butter when they made it. They didn't get all the water out. Put your vegetables in. We're going to saute them a bit. Most people don't have this size. If you have a 9 by 13, you can get away with it. But this size I bought, I don't remember what size it is. This is 11 by 8. That's the size I'm using. Now to make it easy to clean your casserole pan, grease it, it makes it a lot easier to clean. That's why I do it. And that's what we were told when I was growing up. Grease the pans. They're easier to clean. By the way, those breakfast pinwheels are lightweight. I mean, they're really light. I was surprised with as much nuts and stuff. I didn't know if this would actually work or would they be heavy, but they came out really light. I was surprised. Because you know when you make cinnamon raisin buns, how they dry out? These were not dry, which surprised me tremendously. Add your flour. You stir it around and it'll coat all your vegetables and everything. Now the reason I didn't add a lot of salt was because you have salt in the tuna, you have salt here as well. So I want to control salt. I don't want anybody on blood pressure medicine in the house. I tell you, that was the worst time when I was on blood pressure medicine because my feet swelled. I couldn't even wear shoes, sneakers, whatever I wore, I was going to blister. So I know how dangerous it is. Your milk mixture. Now this is going to burn if you don't turn this down. Add your cheese. What we're going to do is wait for the cheese to melt. Now, when I make my tuna casserole, this time I used potato water, but I have used vegetable stock, pork stock, lamb stock, chicken stock. I have used all my stocks whenever I make it, or whatever one I have on hand I use, and I have no complaints with any of them. Where do I get my pork stock from? I sit there, and you know those pork shoulders for picnics? I get that. Then when I cut all the meat off of it, I get my slow cooker out, put that bone in the bottom, throw a bag of vegetables on top of it, fill it to its capacity with water, put it on for 24 on low, and let it do what it has to do. Now, if you don't continue stirring this because of everything you have in it, it will burn. So once the cheese melts, we're fine. If it starts to stick, just take a wooden spoon and stir around the air until you break it free, and it'll be fine. See, my cheese melted. I got it. Now you're going to add parsley, the eggs, the tuna. Stir it around. Now, if you like yours a little spicier, which I didn't do this time, you can cut a couple of pepperoncinis into it with the vegetables and put it in when you do the vegetables, but I didn't want it this time. Because the egg and the tuna are already cooked, you're only going to stir and mix it up and turn it off. Now we've got to wait for the pasta, and then we'll put this whole thing together. Not ready yet, so we have to wait. Okay, and I'll be back as soon as it starts to boil. Okay. Are these whole wheat ones? Yeah, these are whole wheat. I had a box of whole wheat, so well, get out of the way, you know. Done, and then we will be putting this together. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Okay, the pasta's done. Water that I cooked the pasta in will be going out into the garden. always one in the pot that never wants to come out. Right. Now let that cool. Wait a minute, there's 2 more in here. Hold on. Now I think I'm done. You're going to pour all of this into it. We'll mix it up and then we'll put a topping on it. Parmesan cheese or Romano cheese. I use one or the other. But before I do that, I am going to sprinkle wheat germ all over this. This is going to give it a nice crust, believe it or not. I can't tell you how long I'm going to leave it in here. I can tell you I'll leave it till it's bubbling and then it's done. Anyway, that's how I make tuna casserole. Now, I'll show you when it's done, but we have to wait. Okay, we're going to check it. Here it is, tuna casserole. Very nutritious, very filling, by the way. This has got a lot of protein and it's not just a few things added to it. And that's how I make a tuna casserole. Take care. Bye-bye.